Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another Coincider live stream. I'm so excited to get into this one. We've had a crazy week, so there's a lot to talk about. Pardon if I look tired. I just got home from Vegas, and there was just so much that had happened. Every time, I swear, every time I take a trip, there's just so much that goes ahead and happens in the crypto world. So I can't wait to unpack it all. If you missed it, there are a lot of things going on in the macroeconomic scene. There's also a few things going on in airdrops. We're going to look at the Bitcoin price. We're going to look at what's next for Bitcoin potentially, and Solana and Ethereum, and a bunch of other exciting things. But first and foremost, to get all of the formalities out of the way, this is just a quick mic check. So if I sound nice and loud and clear, be sure you go ahead and confirm that in the comments for me, so we can make sure everything is good. Hey, Josh, what were you up to in Vegas just for fun? Yes. Okay, Mike is good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Mike is good. Thank you. Yep, you sound great. Amazing. Thank you very much for the feedback. And what was I up to in Vegas? Actually, I was celebrating with a friend. We were having a baby shower, actually. So it was nice to go and have some leisure time and, get away for a little bit. It's good every so often to go ahead and do that. But it's great to be back in the studio, back doing what we love, and back doing crypto. So let's get right into it. So welcome to today's live stream. Everyone, to be honest, I'm really excited to have you all here because we're going to be diving in to what could honestly be some of the most critical decisions for this bull run based on everything that we're seeing in the global markets. There's pretty much a global panic that's been going on, and we saw the Bitcoin price react to that. And we've actually had quite a nice bounce since. We can go ahead and zoom out. We went all the way down to 49K, as you can see here, and there was just total panic in the markets in the midst of everything that's going on with Japan. So to be honest, if that kind of flew over your head, I can quickly break down what happened with Japan. How did Japan crash the markets, or were they faking out the markets just so they can long? We're going to cover all of that today. So buckle up. This is going to be pretty much an intense ride through the macroeconomic landscape of what's going on right now in crypto and in the TradFi world, and what this could mean for our precious crypto and our bags and for the rest of this bull run. We are also going to analyze projects that you go ahead and leave in the comments. So be sure you go ahead and just go ahead and drop any altcoin, any airdrop that you want me to analyze and look at, and we're going to get into that. So that's pretty much how this stream is going to go today, and I can't wait. We have our friend here, Hempmine, saying, I bought some of the dips. Let's dip some more. Did Kevin Shorts get wrecked? That's funny. You're going to have to ask him. Now, if you want to talk to Kevin, if you want to talk to me further and see exactly what we're doing, you can go ahead and join the Retail Investors DAO. The link is in the description, completely free to join. It's a Discord with all of us, all of our team, and we discuss what's going on in the markets. You can see when Kevin pops open his shorts and so on and so forth. So I highly recommend you go ahead and do that. In times like this, very important to be part of a strong community that's looking at everything going on in the markets and how we are playing it. And it's just something that's very useful. So now we have BTC went back to 62K. But the $1 million question is what's next? Exactly. That's the $1 million question and what we're going to be looking at today. All right, let's get right into it. Don't want to waste any more time. So let's pop over here. So yes, as we can see, Bitcoin had a very nice bounce from 49K to 60K. But what we're looking at, let's go ahead and start with Japan, where things have taken pretty much a dramatic turn. Last week, the Japanese stock market experienced a historic drop of about 15%. Go ahead and hide this. About 15%, with the Nikkei 225 leading the plunge. And this wasn't just a bad day on the stock exchange. It was actually the result of pretty much a massive unwinding of the Japanese yen cash and carry trade. If you're familiar with that, for those unfamiliar with that, this trade basically involves borrowing at Japan's ultra low interest rates to invest in higher yielding assets abroad. And recently, this strategy has started to backfire, and we can see the ripple effects that it's had pretty much on the entire markets globally and in the crypto markets as well. We're going to be taking a look at some charts in that as well, and looking forward to getting into that. So pretty much, Taiwan is experiencing the biggest market collapse in over 57 years. And the ripples didn't stop there, because the NASDAQ futures in the US were also down 5% almost as a result of this. And this is signaling that we might be heading for a significant global market meltdown. And to be honest, my friends, my fellow analysts, people I trust, and experts are already comparing this to the crash we saw all the way back in 1987, which gives you an idea of how serious the situation can become. But then we had Japan sort of reel it back and say, to further protect the markets, they won't be they won't be hiking rates from here. So we're going to see how that plays out. Seems a little bit interesting. And zooming out a bit further, pardon me, zooming out a bit further, we have basically Korea's KOSPI index dropping by 14.6% just over 2 trading days. And also Taiwan saw its worst day in over half of a century. And these aren't just minor corrections. These are significant market events. And these also have pretty much significant effects on the broader markets. Now, when things like this happen, what I like to do is position myself with flash crashes and uncertainty in the markets comes many opportunities. Many alts were down quite a lot. We're going to go ahead and look at the bubbles over here. Just going to load up the crypto bubbles. And if you were buying some of these dips, you actually made out quite well. Let's go ahead and take a look here. So we have, just on the day, Tia, Celestia up 22%. Sui has also been a very strong narrative, up 20%. We have Chronos up 16%. But as you can see, it was a bloody week. Anytime these macro events happen, it's pretty much out of our control as far as how altcoins perform. And it has that cascade effect on the rest of the market. But that also comes with a lot of opportunity. I wouldn't ape in all at once. What I like to do is dollar cost average as these events happen, and keep an ear to the ground, keep a nose to the ground for updates, because things happen extremely quickly in crypto. And you can take advantage of this and actually end up making some significant profits in these times of uncertainty. If we pop open the fear and greed index, I think we're easing off now, but there was actually quite a lot of fear in the markets over this last week, of course, with everything that's been going on. But I like to go ahead and use these opportunities to my advantage. And we're going to talk about how you can be doing that. So the impact that all of this has had on cryptocurrency, let's talk about how it's affecting the market. As you can see, we had quite a dip for alts. And if you thought crypto was, immune to traditional market swings, you're absolutely wrong, because this caused Bitcoin, all of these events had caused Bitcoin to drop under 50K and Ethereum to drop under 2,200. And that actually wiped out 1.1 billion in longs from the markets. And it's actually been quite a brutal week for crypto in recent memories. And it's not all doom and gloom, because some DeFi platforms, for example, Athena and other platforms, are actually holding up quite strong. And this actually proves to be sort of like a stress test for maybe some of your favorite narratives and some of your favorite protocols. And we can actually get some clues on what has relevant strength or relative strength leading into the hopefully next leg of this bull run. And that being said, it just goes to show that, macroeconomic turmoil does have an effect on our precious crypto. We saw even Solana drop from around 200 to 120. We're going to go ahead and look at some of these plays and how we can position ourselves. And so we're also talking about one thing we want to focus on is what could potentially happen next, right? And how are you positioning yourself accordingly? So if you have any alts that you're starting to DCA in and sort of you have your eyes on, you can go ahead and drop that in the comments, and we're going to go ahead and take a look. For example, No Code Hustle is saying, Josh, what do you think about XRP after the conclusion of their lawsuit? I think it's actually quite bullish for XRP. This is another example of an opportunity that's presenting itself. XRP actually paid out the SEC, I believe it was less than 200 million, which sounds like a lot, but honestly not a lot at all in the grand scheme of things. It's something that's actually quite bullish. If you've been following XRP, you know that the XRP versus the SEC case has been a long-running narrative for quite some time. And with that all pretty much concluding, that's something that's actually quite bullish for that ecosystem. And yeah, so he said he was scared to buy during the big crash. To be honest, from my experience, times where you feel actually very uncomfortable to start getting into the markets, those prove to be some of the best times to enter sometimes. And that is exactly what we're going to do. We have Jupiter, one of my favorite exchanges on Solana. Another good one. Why is Sol doing so much better than ETH? Look at the Sol ETH chart. It just broke out. Wow. We're going to go ahead and pull up the Sol ETH chart on TradingView really quickly. But the sentiment around ETH has actually been quite negative over the last few days. People are saying, ETH is actually quite dead, and it's turning out to be the next Zcash or Litecoin of the last cycle. And people are hating on ETH quite a lot. I'm still actually bullish on ETH. Yes, Sol has been pretty much the darling of this bull run, but ETH is the original altcoin, and the ETH ETF just starting to come into fruition and a few different things here. I believe that there's ETH is still in for a rally, maybe not today, but I believe it can be something that's quite significant. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ETH Sol chart, and yeah, you can see it right here. And honestly, ETH, once again, similar to how I said, when it's uncomfortable to buy, when there's negative sentiment around a token, is when I like to actually start to DCA into it. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and take a look at altcoins and other opportunities that present itself when we're doing this. So let's go ahead. I see red bubbles. That gets me excited when I see that. Yeah, I keep on seeing negative sentiment on X around ETH. And yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Save Taiwan. Yes, Taiwan is actually having one of its worst sort of reactions to the market in over 50 years. And we're going to go ahead and take a look. So if you're like me and you've also been around the Cosmos ecosystem, it's been a tough run for us Cosmos farmers and us Cosmos investors overall this run, but there has still been lots of opportunities. There's been airdrops. So I'm going to quickly share an airdrop with you. If you are a Dimension staker, we're going to go ahead and take a look at Igisos. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but this is another project coming out in the Cosmos ecosystem. And if you were a Dimension staker staking over, I believe 23 DIM, then you have a free allocation. There's a guide here to go ahead and get your allocation. One thing we always do over in the retail DAO is share airdrops. So you can go ahead and if you join the retail DAO, you're getting all of these notifications for airdrops as they come. And this is free money that pretty much you don't want to miss out on. So highly recommend you join the retail DAO. But to go ahead and claim your Igisos airdrop, all you have to do is go over to their Discord, go to the roll drop channel. You're going to go ahead and input your wallet address, and that's basically how you both check and claim your AIG. So again, in times of market downturns, we're just looking for as much opportunities as we can, securing airdrops, DCAing into strong alts, and so forth. So if you have any airdrops that you think the community should be aware of, go ahead and drop them in the comments, and I'll take a look at them together. So we have someone here saying Omni Network. We can go ahead and actually analyze that together. And that's funny, actually. We may be having a guest from Omni coming onto the show next week. A little bit more on that later. So that's actually, that's funny that you mentioned. We're going to go ahead and take a look at that as well. But we're just going to pop open the Omni chart. Okay, we're gonna go over here to their Twitter here. Let's take a look. All right, so we have the Omni Network here. Access all existing layer 2 users and liquidity. No more bridging, wallet, or chain complexities. If you know me, you know that interoperability still is one of my favorite narratives, regardless of how it's performed. Of course, wormhole and layer 0, probably some of the strongest narratives in that, but at the same time haven't been performing too well. I believe interoperability season is something that's inevitable. I think interoperability is important to crypto because, like people say, we don't need a million chains, but chains that connect users and liquidity to each other is something that I believe is solving a real problem and something that has strong utility for crypto and it's something that makes sense. So access users everywhere. Omni is a messaging protocol built with a native EVM that allows dApps to access liquidity and users from all Ethereum rollups and dApps, and can become chain agnostic with a single deployment using Omni. So we're actually going to have a member from the Omni team join us on stream, either next stream or the one after that. We will keep you posted on that, but we're excited to go ahead and bring on more guests into the show and have even more insights than just Kevin and I and our researchers. So we're excited to do that and actually grow the show a little bit more that way. So if you're interested in Omni and interoperability, you can go ahead and check them out, and you'll also potentially be able to ask the team some questions live right here on the show. So stay tuned for that. Let's go ahead and take some other community picks. And we have Grass here. Grass is another one that I believe we talked about it last episode. Easy to farm and also plays into the DePIN narrative, plays into the Solana narrative. To go ahead and farm Grass, all you got to do is attach the Chrome extension here. I haven't really been aggressive on it, but you can go ahead and basically, just for having your device connected, you can see Grass here, make sure it's connected. Just for having your device connected, you could actually go ahead and earn Grass points, which are sellable on Whales Market. So you can just go over to whales.market. What I like about airdrops like this is you don't have to wait for a TGE before the token is actually tradable, or before your free points are actually sellable. That's one thing that I really like. Dogs is another one we've talked about in the retail DAO Discord. And if you were in there, you've had dogs in your wallet from when it's come out. And as you can see, it's actually getting filled here, dog coins. And this, again, was another completely free airdrop with an open market for it. So Grass is another one I'm into. Dogs is another one I'm into. There's just so many airdrops out there right now. If you want to stay ahead of all of them, be sure you go ahead and join the retail DAO and don't miss any opportunities for free income and free money. So let's move right along. We have, let's see, do you think Omni Network will at least perform? Potentially. Again, I really like the interoperability narrative. What do you think the launch price will be for Grass? I can't really tell you, but it has a average price on the pre-markets, so you can kind of gauge an idea for that, or you can actually even start trading it, not just only selling it, but if you think it's undervalued, you can actually go and get it pretty much at pre-launch levels, which can potentially be a play. H bar still growing, but prices still stick to 0.5 cents. Any future predictions long term? I don't have any exposure in H bar, so I haven't really been keeping up too closely with that. So I don't really have a future long-term prediction, but I know it's a very strong community with a strong infrastructure as well. Anyone see Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump announce their crypto project? A lot of drama surrounding that. So there's been actually quite a lot of activity with celebrities and mainstream influencers dropping crypto projects. We obviously had our celebrity coin season that we recently saw, and I'm not bullish on that. But someone like Donald Trump obviously has a ton of influence and a ton of reach. Overall, we want to see adoption. I love what celebrity coins and mainstream coins can be, but I don't like what it actually is today. So that's one thing about that. I'll keep an eye on that. Donald Trump already launched NFTs, and there's all these different things, but I don't believe it's something that's actually been formulated in a way that really expands and brings a lot of mainstream adoption like it can with some of the reach that these influencers have. So in my opinion, old projects like ADA, HBAR, ICP, DOT, all dead zombie projects, ghost chains. Honestly, for the most part, I have to agree. For the most part, there's still some old coins with a lot of potential and a lot of strong use case, such as Polygon, Avalanche, and even ICP. I guess isn't too bad. However, personally, I don't have too much exposure on those old coins. As you said, there's a lot of underwater bag holders from previous markets who could potentially bring a lot of sell pressure in that way. Is Pyth a chain link killer? Any future predictions? I like Pyth actually, and I like the Oracle, the pricing Oracle narrative, something that is simple but makes sense. And with how strong you've seen Solana, the Solana season, I believe it's something that's pretty much inevitable. There's going to be tons of different projects coming out on Solana. We're already seeing that every single day. And that being said, I believe Pyth could potentially be a strong narrative. Any idea with JTO? Let's go ahead and take a look at JTO. If you don't mind, when you share projects, please go ahead and add both the ticker and the name so that it's easy to find. I'm not sure if JTO was a ticker or something else that's kind of going over my head. In spite of FUD on JTO, it's nicely set up for continuation. Let's see. If you know what's the full name of JTO or their Twitter, we can take a better look at it. Personally, I am not actually in JTO. Can't really find too much info on it. So yeah, go ahead and please send the full name and we can go ahead and analyze some of these together. Someone said they were very bullish on Pyth and Oracle projects, but they all got killed during the bear. I believe it's far from over from that. Of course, we saw sharp corrections pretty much across all narratives during the bear market. 2025 might be the bull run year. Personally, my exit plan for this bull market is in 2025. By Q4 2025, I plan to have the majority of my crypto pretty much off the table and profits taken off the table and looking for that next huge correction. So that's kind of like my rough outlook. 6-figure Bitcoin or Q4 2025, whichever comes first, I will be starting to take profits aggressively. I'll always have some exposure in crypto, obviously, but that is my outlook for when to go ahead and exit. Let's see. Oh, Jito. I should have known. Yeah. JTO. Jito. 100%. That was one of the most lucrative airdrops, I believe, to come out this year. Most users got 5 figures. Jito. I believe there's just a lot of projects doing the same thing. Of course, this has been a very strong one. I wouldn't have any, I'm not buying any further than the airdrop, but I do believe it can perform. Matic has been negative for quite some time. I believe that Matic still has a ton of potential. They are launching their Polygon ZK EVM and they're switching to their Pol token. These can be some narratives. Who knows, that kind of sparks something for Matic. Let's go ahead and see. Did the Trumps already details announce their project? Not exactly sure what you mean there. Yes, definitely has potential. Bro, why is it so quiet for now? There also has been quite a lot of negative sentiment around Arbitrum, and I believe a lot of it maybe goes around how their pretty much how their token is adding value. I believe that governance alone isn't the strongest utility to buy a token. Of course, Arbitrum is an amazing blockchain, one of the best blockchains in my opinion, as far as function, finality time, transaction speed, all that good stuff, and community adoption. However, the ARB token itself, this primary use case is governance, and personally, I've always thought that just isn't quite enough. I guess it's like playing into if you like the chain, but I would like to see some more utility. I like tokens that are gas tokens, and just do a little bit more than just governance. I believe that maybe that's part of what has held it down. Exactly as Vinayak is saying, it's just a governance token. And let's be honest, majority of crypto users aren't actually participating in governance, right? And it's more of like, I guess I would say, the power users, the whales, the builders, and so on and so forth. Maybe even some of the VCs and early investors that are actually going in and participating in governance. Even for me, when I was a newer crypto user, that's not really something that excited me. A lot of users who are actually participating in governance would be doing things like farming airdrops and not actually, being an active participant, unless they're like a true true maxi of a coin. So I believe that just governance alone isn't enough to go ahead and entice me to ape. Maybe it's different for you, but that's how I feel about governance tokens. And which token is the best investment for RWA? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't tell you what the best RWA project is, but I can tell you some of my favorite ones. I really like, of course, Ondo. Ondo is probably my favorite in that narrative. I mistyped. What did the Trump sons announce? What did the Trump sons announce? Are their details known? I'll have to look into that a little further. Okay, someone actually answered that for you there. No details yet, random guy. So there you go. Someone said, I'd rather choose Omni than ARB, in my opinion. That's interesting. We're going to have to take a look at Omni a little further. Again, we may have a team member joining us very soon, so you can ask them directly any questions that you might have. It's an interoperability play. We already talked about XRP earlier. Yes, we did. Blender token. Let's go ahead and take a look at Blender token together, actually. Let's go ahead and take a look at Blender. The Blender network, I believe, is what they're referring to. Let's pop over here. Elevate your AI rendering and simulations with Blender. Say goodbye to pricey, centralized GPU farms, and hello to scalable, secure computing. And that plays into the AI narrative. Again, it's like we spoke on last episode. AI is almost like meme coins, as far as just how many are starting to saturate the market. There's so many different AI narratives and AI coins that you can jump into. AI and DePIN have been really, I don't want to say buzzwords, but there's been just a lot of saturation in that sector. And picking the top one or picking like a hidden gem may be a sort of difficult task. In narratives like this, I do like to ride with the ones that are already winning, because winners win. But yeah, we can go ahead and take a look at Blender. Maybe this will be the difference. So they're saying the blueprint for tomorrow: secure, scalable access to computing resources. Sounds very DePIN, sounds very AI. It's for rendering, high performance computing. And this is very similar to, there's a bunch I could mention right now. There's Blender, but there's Render. It sounds like a play on Render. There's Aether, there's Akash, there's tons of different DePIN plays that you can go ahead and get into. And they're going to go ahead, of course, and tell you about all their computing power and all of this. So I'm starting to just see a lot of these really pop up pretty much all the time. We can go ahead and take a look at, it looks like you can get, I guess, already buy the Blender token. Let's pop over to here. Let's see, Blender network. All right, so it's had a 20 mil market cap. So it's actually not too, it's actually, I guess, relatively a lower cap altcoin, I guess, in comparison to some of the larger ones like Tau and like Render, which have touched over $1 billion market cap. If it can actually go ahead and get to those levels, of course, there's a lot of multiples to be made. But is this the one that can compete with all the market leaders already? Chances are, I don't know. I wouldn't think so. But we'll go ahead and keep an eye on Blender. Thank you for sharing. Let's go ahead and take a look at some others. Okay. How to identify if the token coins is a governance token. So a lot of the time that's actually going to be communicated by the team. You want to pay attention to their Discord. You want to pay attention to their Twitter. And basically a governance token, you'll be able to go onto a platform like Snapshot, and based on how many tokens you have, that's how much voting power you have on proposals that are made by the team and by the core community, and pretty much all of the community members or token holders would be able to go ahead and vote on decisions for what comes next. Maybe like where some liquidity is going. Maybe they're going to set up a fund for new tokens. Maybe they're going to go ahead and make significant moves or change, staking rewards, different things like that. That's pretty much what a governance token would be. And the utility a lot of the time would be just that. And for me, that's not enough to want to buy a token. And that's pretty much how it is. And Vinayak says, too many DePIN projects. Next bear season will clean the market out. That's exactly how it goes. Good point, Vinayak. And pretty much the cream, as I like to say, the cream will always rise to the top, just like in coffee or whatever. You know that saying, the cream always rises to the top. Over time, you're going to see a lot of them fizzle out. Not every token is going to make it, of course. Anytime you're seeing a narrative just get completely flooded, it actually almost gets me a little more bullish on the original one, because out of all these tokens launching, only a few of them will actually stand the test of time. Metis DAO, I'm bullish on Metis. I've always liked Metis. Let's see. It should be in the tokens docs or white paper where the utility is explained. If there's not much else than governance, then, well, it's a governance token. Thank you, random guy. All right. TARS AI. We actually went ahead and covered TARS in our last stream, last stream or 2 streams ago. So you can go ahead and check that over in the YouTube. Scroll over to the live section and you will be able to see that. Any update regarding public launch of Peaq Network, best DePIN? So Suman Gope is saying that this is the best DePIN project. We can go ahead and take a look. Let's see, what was it? Peaq Network. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right. And anytime you're going ahead and analyzing something from Twitter, one thing I like to always make sure of is right away I can see that many different accounts that I follow are already following it. So you know that you're probably on the right page and looking at the right one, and not a scam page. Always make sure that you do that, because of course scams are very rampant in crypto. So Peaq, powering a global infrastructure revolution, scalable, green, decentralized layer 1 blockchain for DePIN and RWA. So they're playing into, I guess, both DePIN and RWA. Hopefully not a project that's just sort of taking advantage of the biggest narratives and sort of bundling it up into one. We see that happening quite a bit, but here we can see that they have 30 plus DePINs building on Peaq Network, 15 industries being updated, over 750,000 machines, vehicles, robots, and devices, and tokenized RWA worth over 25 million. And the world's largest and fastest growing DePIN ecosystem. See, when I see this, at this point, doesn't get me like super excited or super thrilled, again, because there's so many others that are doing this. If I heard this, I guess maybe like a year ago or towards the beginning of the bull market, I would be a little more like excited, a little more bullish. But I see sort of the same things throughout all these different DePIN projects. But yeah, Peaq Network, if you are interested, you can go and research further. But for me, there's just, again, too many DePIN and too many AI projects for me to just ape in on one that's pretty much saying something very similar. Gamer Hash, Coin GHX, another similar thing. Another great stream. Got to hop off of work, catch the rest later on PC. Have a good one. Ethereum is going down. What's its support? I believe that Ethereum could actually still rally quite a bit. Everyone's bearish on Ethereum, but once these ETF inflows get into full swing and a few other catalysts take place, I believe ETH will rally once again. Axelar, AXL as interoperability platform is good to hold for the long term. Any suggestions? I am bullish on Axelar, AXS. Maybe try and go ahead and pop open this right here. Axelar. Yeah, Axelar. So honestly, I've had exposure in Axelar for quite a bit. I'll even pop open my Kepler. Oops. Let's go ahead and take a look. One thing I really like is pretty much, oh, don't mind that this isn't real. But what I like is that if we go over to Hyperlane, that's one I've been looking at for quite some time, or Use Nexus. You can actually see, as he mentioned, interoperability. You can see how well it works. We'll pop that open in a bit. But pretty much, again, interoperability, one of my favorite narratives in crypto. And Axelar works incredibly fast, the finality time. And honestly, IBC and IBS, just as a technology overall, is probably some of my favorite in crypto. It hasn't seen its season yet, but I believe that when it kicks off, it's going to be something that's very, very strong. Let's go ahead and Bitcorps need to stop dumping ETH. I agree. And all right. So that's pretty much good for that. We can actually go ahead and look at some airdrops that I'm looking at, something that's a little bit exciting for me. So one thing that we saw recently, if you know me, you know I've been bullish on Hyperlane and their interoperability technology that they've been building. And they actually just went ahead and announced the Hyper token, something that's actually been long awaited. They've raised about, or the Hype token rather, they've raised about 18.5 million in pre-seed funding. And this is pretty much an airdrop that I've been keen on for quite some time. There's not a lot of info out just yet, but as you can see, introducing the Hyperlane Foundation and Hype. So once again, when tokens start to get ready for their TGE, you'll see them come out with a foundation, similar to the Arbitrum Foundation, or similar to the Layer 0 Foundation. And when they say they're starting to decentralize their network, this pretty much means they're gearing up to drop a token more times than not. It usually starts with governance. Hopefully we see a little more utility than just governance with Hype, but pretty much the number one interoperability solution as far as the IBC and Cosmos technology goes. And they've also started to integrate a lot more blockchains. This is something I'm very bullish on. I believe probably the lowest bridge fees I've seen across bridges. So today, the Hyperlane Foundation introduces Hype, a token that will establish an alliance between motivated users of the Hyperlane network. Most importantly, Hype is designed to build the foundation for a developer-owned network, one where those who make it useful to become owners. And so again, interoperability, one of my favorite narratives. I would keep my eyes on Hyperlane. I would go ahead and join the Retail Investors DAO for pretty much an in-depth sort of look on how to actually become eligible for Hyperlane. If we go ahead and go Hyperlane, I have a full tutorial on how to get involved in the Hyperlane airdrop. There is speculation that the snapshot hasn't happened yet. So I would go ahead and take a look at this. This is how to find the bridges and how to find projects and products made by them. So you want to pretty much build up token history over on here. And that's how you can sort of get involved in the Hyperlane ecosystem at a low cost. Let's take some more community questions. Hyperlane. Yeah, so quite bullish on that. All right. So just another announcement of an announcement. Yes, pretty much. You see that happen quite a lot. Tokens will do this and projects will do this to sort of keep sentiment up around an airdrop, or just to kind of keep users going, even though they don't plan to launch the token for quite some time. So overall, just to sort of wrap this all up, you can get it that basically when the markets see big dumps like this, there is tons of opportunities to be made. Someone like me, I like to farm for airdrops and sort of position myself, because once you see that market start to tick back up and we start to rebound, you'll see a lot of these tokens launching. They want to wait for good market conditions. So during those times of low market conditions, you could be positioning yourself. You could be making your wallets eligible. You can be aping into coins and just different things like that. But as we get into that upswing, we start to see tokens come out. So now I would say is the time to start getting involved. And once again, I will join the Retail Investors DAO just to make sure you don't miss any information. The link is in the description. And if you enjoy this content that we bring to you every single Friday, be sure you go ahead and like and subscribe to Coinsider so that we can keep bringing you these videos. Next week, we will be having our first ever founder and guest joining us today. And stay tuned for more of that. Thank you for tuning in to another Coinsider live stream. My name is Josh, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.